You're listening to Swift News, your daily news briefing in just 10 minutes. This is episode 22, and it's May 25, 2025. Let's get into today's stories. Today, we're taking a quick, yet pretty comprehensive look at what's shaping our world right now.
Yeah, there's a lot happening.
Definitely. We've got global tensions, some big economic shifts, really exciting tech innovations, too.
And those human stories as well, the ones that, ground everything.
Exactly. So let's dive right in, starting with politics and global affairs. The situation in Ukraine, it's still incredibly complex.
It really is. And what's striking, I think, is the contrast.
How so?
Well, you have Kyiv suffering its largest drone and missile attack, truly devastating, at least 12 deaths reported.
Awful.
But then, almost unbelievably, at the same time, there's this major prisoner swap. 1,000 captives exchanged on each side.
Wow. 1,000. It's hard to square those two things, isn't it? Conflict and diplomacy happening side by side.
Precisely. It does make you wonder about, well, what communication channels might still be open, even now.
And shifting focus, the situation in Gaza is also deeply concerning.
Yes, recent Israeli airstrikes have reportedly caused at least 20 deaths. Tragically, that includes a journalist and a rescue official.
And on top of that, the aid situation sounds desperate.
Extremely. Reports of aid convoys being looted are coming in, and, well, the fear of famine is becoming very real. Huge challenges for humanitarian work there.
It's just heartbreaking. Okay, moving across the globe. Venezuela.
Yeah, the elections there saw very low voter turnout.
Why was that?
Largely due to opposition boycotts, it seems. It really points to ongoing internal political friction, which could ripple out regionally.
Right. And zooming out again, the South China Sea. More tension.
Yes, China's issued a, let's say, firm warning to the Philippines.
Okay. And this is happening while the G7 met in Rome.
Exactly. And interestingly, at that G7 summit, they pledged $50 billion for climate initiatives.
So you've got geopolitical tension on one hand and global cooperation on climate on the other.
It really highlights how interconnected everything is. Security, environment, diplomacy, they all weave together.
Okay, let's pivot now to business and economy. Some developments here could definitely affect, your bottom line.
A big one to watch is the U.S.-China trade situation. These new U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods, they're already causing disruptions.
Ripples across global trade, I imagine.
For sure. And leaders in Southeast Asia are noticing. They're actually pushing harder now for more regional cooperation, trying to build some resilience against this kind of fallout.
Interesting strategy. Meanwhile, over on Wall Street, things looking up.
Very much so. For some sectors, the S&P 500 hit a record high.
And what's driving that?
It seems to be mostly tech stocks, which, ties right into what we'll talk about next with technology.
Yeah, that makes sense. Investor confidence in tech often signals broader optimism, doesn't it?
It does. And speaking of innovation, look at India. Its startup ecosystem is just booming.
Still growing fast.
Absolutely. Thousands of new ventures, record amounts of venture capital flowing in. It's a really dynamic part of the global picture.
Good to see. And how about Europe? What's the economic pulse there?
A bit different. We're seeing Eurozone inflation drop to 2.1%.
Yeah.
And the euro itself seems to be getting a bit stronger.
So a real mix across the globe.
Definitely. Trade tensions, market highs, regional growth, inflation easing. It's a complex financial landscape right now.
All right, let's get into technology. This is always a fast-moving area, and I find it particularly fascinating.
Well, you'll like this then. The big buzz is the worldwide launch of Apple's Vision Pro headset.
Yes. Mixed reality, right? How's it being received?
Early reviews are largely positive. People seem really impressed with the augmented reality features, the AR, and the design, too.
It does make you wonder, doesn't it, how this kind of tech might change how we, interact with everything day to day.
It absolutely does. And speaking of big changes, OpenAI just took the wraps off GPT-5.
GPT-5. Okay.
Right.
What are they promising this time?
They're talking about major leaps in AI conversation and reasoning abilities, the potential impact across different sectors.
Yes.
Well, it's huge.
Huge potential, but also risks. We just heard about a big data breach.
Exactly. That breach at a major global hotel chain affecting possibly millions, it's a very stark reminder.
So the usual advice applies. Strong passwords, two-factor authentication.
More important than ever, basic digital hygiene, really. Protect your information.
Got it. Okay, on a more constructive tech note, drones.
Yes. An Indian startup, SkyGrid, raised $100 million. That's quite a sum.
What for?
For their AI-powered drone delivery system. Their goal is basically to revolutionize urban logistics. Imagine getting packages delivered by drone routinely.
That feels like the future getting closer. And something for the gamers. PlayStation.
Sony's teasing the PlayStation 6. Not many details yet, but they've mentioned new VR and even holographic features.
Holographic. Okay, that sounds pretty sci-fi. Gamers must be excited.
Definitely generating buzz. And one more thing on the tech front. The EU has passed some pretty strict new rules about AI transparency.
Ah, the regulatory side. Important.
Very. Some are calling it a potential global standard. It highlights that whole discussion around ethics in AI development.
So, from headsets to AI ethics, tech is certainly not standing still.
Never does.
Okay, let's switch over to sports. Always some great stories of competition and achievement here.
Yeah, absolutely. And in Spanish football, huge news. Barcelona clinched the La Liga title.
How'd they manage that?
A nail-biting 3-2 win over rivals Real Madrid. Young star Lamine Yamal scored the winner. Big celebrations in Barcelona, no doubt.
Fantastic. And in European football, the big final is coming up.
Yes, the Champions League final. It's Manchester City versus Bayern Munich. Should be a great match.
Two giants. Okay, what else? Cricket.
New Zealand is gearing up for a historic test series against South Africa. Cricket fans will be watching that one closely.
Right. And over in the U.S., NBA playoffs.
The Boston Celtics look dominant. They swept the New York Knicks.
Ouch. Celtics moving on strong then. Golf.
At the PGA Championship, Rory McIlroy is currently leading the pack.
Oh, okay.
And in women's golf, Sarah Kim had a record-setting performance at the Women's U.S. Open. Really impressive stuff.
Sounds like it. All right, let's check out entertainment and culture. What's happening there?
Well, a bit of drama at the Cannes Film Festival's closing night.
Oh, what happened?
A citywide blackout right during the ceremony.
No way. Did they still manage to give out the awards?
They did. Despite the power outage, The Last Horizon won the top prize, the Palme d'Or. Resilience in the face of, well, darkness.
Huh. Good for them. What else is buzzing? K-pop.
Always.
Yeah.
The group Triple S is teasing a new album, Assemble 25, and their track, Are You Alive, is apparently trending worldwide. K-pop's global reach is just incredible.
It really is. Anything else catching your eye, maybe celebrity-related?
Well, Alicia Silverstone was at Paris Fashion Week, but she was using the platform to advocate for sustainable fashion.
Oh, that's great. Using fame for a cause.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And on the screen, HBO's new show, Dune, Prophecy, just premiered.
The Dune prequel series. How is it?
Getting rave reviews, apparently. Meanwhile, remember Pokemon?
Of course.
The anime reboot has sparked a lot of online debate among fans. Passion runs deep there.
Doesn't surprise me. And finally, something for art lovers.
Yes, quite exciting. A previously lost sketch by Vincent van Gogh has been authenticated in Amsterdam.
Wow, a real Van Gogh.
Yep. And apparently, it's already drawing big crowds. The enduring power of art history.
Amazing. Okay, let's move to environment and science, focusing on our planet and discovery.
And unfortunately, some serious climate impacts to report. Record floods on Australia's east coast.
How bad is it?
Bad enough to need emergency airlifts. It really shows the increasing severity of these extreme weather events we're seeing.
And heat waves too, right? California?
Yes, extreme heat in the Inland Empire there. It's leading to urgent calls for water and energy conservation. Direct impacts on daily life for people in that region.
A clear consequence. But any positive news on the science front? Maybe medical.
Actually, yes. Really promising news regarding Alzheimer's.
Oh.
A new drug in trials showed a 30% improvement. That's significant. And it's being fast-tracked for FDA approval. Offers some real hope.
That is genuinely hopeful news. Anything in, say, computing.
Quantum computing, actually.
Yeah.
Japanese scientists have managed to double its speed in a recent breakthrough.
Doubled the speed. What's the timeline for seeing that used?
They're aiming for commercial rollout around 2026. The potential implications are huge for everything from medicine discovery to AI.
Right, quantum could change a lot. And space. Any updates on the moon mission?
Good news there, too. NASA's Artemis III mission, the one aiming for the moon landing, passed its latest review.
So still on track for 2026.
Looks like it. Humanity's push back to the moon continues.
Fantastic. Okay, our final section today. Events and human stories. What's been happening around the world?
Well, a bit of a scare in Norway. A cargo ship ran aground during a bad storm.
Anyone hurt?
Thankfully, no. But it was apparently a very close call with a nearby village. A reminder of the dangers at sea.
Definitely. And a much happier outcome in South Africa.
Yes, truly wonderful news. All 260 miners who were trapped underground, they've all been rescued successfully.
Oh, that's incredible. After how long? It must have been terrifying.
A tense ordeal, for sure. but a fantastic example of resilience and rescue efforts working.
Great news. Okay, looking ahead,
Yeah.
Olympics.
Los Angeles is getting ready. They've announced a massive $1.2 billion upgrade for their Olympic venues.
1.2 billion, that's huge. Any local benefit?
They're projecting thousands of new jobs from the project. So yes, significant local economic impact expected.
Good. Now, something a bit weird. Crypto kidnapping.
Yeah, bizarre story out of Miami involving a crypto tycoon and an alleged Bitcoin kidnapping plot. Strange times.
Indeed. The intersection of tech and crime gets stranger. On a more somber note, Canada.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah.
A tragic SUV truck crash there claimed 5 lives. Just awful news.
Thoughts go out to them. And issues with misinformation in India.
Yes, specifically around exam results. The Education Board, the CBSE, had to warn students about fake class 10th result notices circulating online.
So they're urging students to stick to official sources.
Exactly. It highlights that ongoing challenge of navigating fake news, especially for young people.
Right. And finally, let's end on an inspiring note. Running.
Eliud Kipchoge, the Kenyan marathon legend, he ran the Berlin Marathon again.
Did he break the record this time?
Not quite, but incredibly close. Another amazing display of human endurance and spirit.
Truly inspiring. Well, that brings us almost to the end. That's your world in 10 minutes with Swift News. The world in 10 minutes. Follow us for daily updates. Join us tomorrow for episode 23. Stay curious, stay informed. This is Swift News, signing off.